Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel and the lecture series of radio.net using C# language. In the last video, I had explained you the basic connected architecture and how do we practically achieve a connected architecture using radio.net. So now in connected architecture, do remember we have to use our two classes. There are two classes that are used for connected architecture. So the first one is your SQL command and the second is your SQlData. These are the two classes that are used for connected architecture. Now in this video we will see how do we achieve the disconnected architecture using ASP.NET C#. Now this is the design. I am just taking one more button here so that will use to retrieve the result using disconnected architecture. So now display data, I am just changing the text to this display data. Then connected. Now right click the properties. Now display data using this connected architecture, and this is my button 2. We can create a separate page for the disconnected architecture, but now I am using the same web form for connected architecture as well as this. So in the last video I had explained this all the code. Now in this video we will see how do we retrieve the result using disconnected architecture. Just double click on this button. The namespaces are same, using system.data, using system.data.sql client and using system.configuration. So now we start with the again connection code. Exception EX, and then within response.write we will display this error message ex.message. Now again first we will create a path variable for the connection, then configuration manager dot connection strings within double quotes mycon and dot toString. And this mycon is defined in web.config file. We have to add this connection string in web.config. Now we create a connection object SQL connection con equals to new SQL connection. This is the syntax to create a connection object, and we will pass, right, I will pass the parameter path to the connection, and the next step is to open this connection. The connection code remains same for connected as well as disconnected architecture, and then we close the connection. Now we start with the string query. Again the query also same, select star from employee. Employee is my table. So now in this case, right, we use a different class SQlDataAdapter DA equals to new SQlDataAdapter, and we will pass the two parameters to the data adapter. First is your query and second is your connection. So as we can see that it is equivalent to the SQL command. In SQL command there are two parameters. In SQL command we have two parameters as we can see here, query and connection. In the same way For SQL data reader, we have a 2 parameters, query and connection. Now, next we will define the object of dataset ds equals to new dataset. So this is my dataset. What happen in case of disconnected architecture? The query that we pass, which will fetch the record from the employee table, all the records are stored in DA. That means the data adapter has all the records. So in this case, we will transfer the data of data adapter field into the DS. That means data adapter will become an empty. We are filling the data of data adapter in dataset. So for each user, we will create a separate data source. That means we are not connected with the table. Right now the table is free. We are connected with the dataset. That is your DS. So now suppose there is another user. We can create a dataset for that user. That user will retrieve the result or interact with the employee table. Right? After retrieving the data, again we will transfer the data into the another dataset. So in this way, right, we will connect the user with the table for some period of time. Once all the reading completes, data adapter will transfer the data with the dataset. So now in this case, after execution of this line, the data will be stored in the dataset. So again, we will use a separate grid view. We will take another grid view, then toolbox, then data. Within data, we have a grid view. Now this is my grid view. I'll change the format of this grid view. This is my grid view. Now on the ID, just check the ID grid view. So on the clicking of this grid button, we will display the records on the grid view 2. So now next line is your grid view 2 dot data source equals to DS. Why? Because why we are not passing a DA? Because all the data is transferred from data adapter to the datasets. And now next step, data 2 dot data byte. So this is the disconnected architecture used in the ADA. So only the difference is here. Most of the code is same. This part is differ. In the connected architecture, we use SQL data reader and the SQL command object. In this connected architecture, we use SQL data adapter and the dataset object. Now again, right click, execute. Just execute the code. Now it is loading the page. Okay. Now click on the disconnected architecture. As we can see here, this is my disconnected architecture dataset. Then click on this. We have a connected architecture data. So both the ways are preferable as per the requirement of the client. If we are designing a Windows form application, disconnected architecture is best. Connected architecture is best. And if we are designing or web forms, websites, then disconnected architecture is used. This is all about the basic connected and the disconnected architecture used in ADA. I hope you understood this session. Thank you.